minibus with Mary and Captain and you. Get on the bus!
Hey there, I'm in Arizona, and I know I was nowhere near Arizona the last time you saw me, so I have a lot of videos to show you about the trip across the country, but I thought that I would check in here at the destination and let you know what's going on. Some of it is pretty challenging. Hopefully I'm still going to be able to get some videos out, but it's not top priority right now, to be totally honest. Captain and I got into Flagstaff on Friday night late, and on Saturday we met up with Kat and our other travel friend Pam, who Kat's been traveling with while we've been on the East Coast. A lot of you know my incredible friend Kat from her channel, Kat and Dogs on Wheels, and you probably have noticed that she hasn't posted in a really long time, and that's because she's been dealing with some pretty big health stuff, cancer, and she doesn't have a lot of energy right now. If you want the full update on that, she recently wrote a community post explaining things. You can find it by going to her channel and clicking on the community tab at the top of the page. I'll put a link to the channel in the description, and of course you can subscribe to Kat over there if you haven't subscribed to her already. I'll let her tell you the details of that part of the story, because that's really her story to tell. You might remember Kat because she's the one who stood by me through the 3 months it took to get my transmission fixed in Quartzsite. You know, it was 3 months that it could have been awful, but it was instead filled with a lot of desert exploring and camel riding and all sorts of other fun and games. So now it's my turn. I don't know how much fun and games I can make out of cancer, but I'm going to give it a try. She's heading into the next chapter of her treatment, and I would not miss the opportunity to be here for her. Pam has been taking really good care of Kat while I was finishing up with my own medical crap on the East Coast. But now, I'm back. We're going to kick cancer's ass together here in Arizona. Kat's going to be fine, but I know that she would really appreciate it if you'd, just keep her in your thoughts. I really came here to Arizona with the expectation that I was going to be able to just put everything on the back burner and completely be here just for Kat, but somebody snuck onto the front burner. Captain. Almost as soon as we got to Flagstaff, Captain started having some issues of his own. I haven't really talked about his health, but Captain's got stuff. At the beginning of the year, during the whole transmission thing, he got pretty sick in Quartzsite, and Kat drove us to Yuma, to the animal hospital there, and he was diagnosed there with congestive heart failure. They treated him and sent me home with some medication for him, and he was fine for the rest of our time in Arizona. He responded really well to the medication. He went back to being his usual energetic, bossy, feisty, uptight self and all that, and he was great for the whole drive back to the East Coast. And he did well there for a while too, but then he had a bit of a bad patch while we were on Cape Cod, and he was hospitalized in Boston for heart failure again. They changed up the meds a little bit, and he saw a cardiologist there. He bounced back great, and he stayed great until we got to Flagstaff. I ended up having to bring him to the hospital in Flagstaff too. When he got out of the hospital in Flagstaff, he got better for like an hour, and then he was bad again. There was some suggestion that the altitude was a factor, so I drove the bus down to Phoenix because it's only 1,000 feet there. It's also 110 degrees there, so we stayed in a motel for a few days, and even with the cool motel and the lower altitude, he didn't get any better, so I took him to another emergency vet. The doctor and I had a little bit of a clash. I didn't like her, to be honest, but he was there. Her personality doesn't mean she's not a great doctor. She's saying all the right things about the treatment, so I figured I would go forward until the estimate came. $4,000 for basically a day and a half of treatment. I know vet care isn't cheap, but I have been through this a lot, and I know that it should have been about half that at most. I called around and found another vet ER, and they were like, bring him over, we'll work it out, we'll work the money out, and they did. They worked it out. I took him there, and they gave him great treatment for less than half the price of the other place. Just under $2,000, which is still a lot of money. And I've always talked about how I have health insurance on all my pets. But Captain has insurance too, but unfortunately, we had to switch to a new insurance company. And this one, when he had the insurance exam for it, it came up with a heart murmur. So anything that's related to the heart, they consider it a pre-existing condition. So all those bills are mine. So anyway, it came out great, and we went to my sister's house. Kat and Captain and I all went to stay at my sister's house, and she has a beautiful air-conditioned house and a hot tub and all this other stuff, and he seemed like he was doing great. He was doing great. But then we had to drive up to drop Kat off at where she was camped, and once we got there, he had a seizure and everything went bad again. So now I'm camped in the parking lot of this vet hospital in Prescott Valley. Captain is inside getting oxygen and medication, and they're saying that the altitude isn't doing him any favors here either. It's only 5,000 feet here, I think. Any lower, you're fighting heat, right? So I'm just feeling really all over the place. And I know some of you won't understand spending that much money on a dog who could die. I mean, he's gonna die despite it. But I think I have a lot of dog lovers in my audience, and you get it. I've never had a hard time. I've never hesitated about helping my fur babies cross to the Rainbow Bridge when it was time, but they basically have told me, they tell you when they're tired of fighting, and Captain isn't even close to that. He's working so hard at being alive. He really wants to be alive, and how can I be the one who takes that away from him? Because I can't even tell you, I can't even explain how important this guy is to me. Especially right now, with everything else that's going on with Kat and other things, there's a lot of weight on me at the moment. And Captain is the one thing in my life that seems to lighten everything. But on the other hand, my emergency fund is gone. The well is dry. So if this new treatment, they have an idea about a new treatment that's going to be for his blood pressure, because he has high blood pressure, and they think that might be part of what's causing. But if this doesn't work, so I've been distracted, as you can probably imagine. And all of this is happening literally at the anniversary of my mom's passing. Oh, here's a story. I know a lot of you are going to think that this is nuts, but okay, since my mom passed, I've been asking her for a sign, and she hasn't sent me one. Just some kind of a sign that she is in some place and that she still exists in some way. And I guess if it were that easy, more people would be sending messages after they die, right? But the thing you need to know about my mom is she was a technophobe. She could barely operate a regular phone, let alone a smartphone. So on August 21st, the anniversary of my mother's death, Siri, Siri on the iPhone, I'm nowhere near my phone, and all of a sudden Siri says something like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." And I respond with, "Never mind, I wasn't talking to you." So Siri responds, "Okay, calling mom," then dials my mother's old number. So my technophobe mother has decided to use artificial intelligence to send me a sign. That's what I get from that. I guess things are very different in the afterworld, and you can take that for what you will, but I'm taking it as a sign, a very funny sign. So I guess life has detoured me again as far as making videos go, but you guys have been such a part of our lives for so long now that I felt like you need to know what's happening. I will have all those videos from the trip across. I'll have more travel stuff for you, of course, and of course I will update you on what's up with my boy and with Kat. But until then, please keep Kat and Captain in your thoughts and prayers, and me too, because I really need a lot of strength right now. So thank you for being here. Next one's going to be cheerier, hopefully.